temperature. And then draw yourself with me a nice little thermometer. And the reason why, temperature is kind of a simple little thing. And really no longer do we see little thermometers that look like this, but it's always funner to draw them like this just because. And if we're talking about our Fahrenheit scale, okay, at what temperature does water freeze for us here in the good old US of A? Everywhere else it's 0, but here, Jaden, it's, let's say 32 degrees. And then it boils at, Charlie?
212.
212. And then when it gets cold out, we get down to 0 degrees. And if it gets really cold out, and here's your first time of working with what we call integers. Okay, we do a lot with positive numbers, but we haven't done a whole lot with negative numbers. And one of the places we find them a lot is the temperature. You know, you might get like minus 10 degrees below 0. Okay, so today the temperature, the whole point of doing the temperature here is so that you get a little idea of negative numbers there. Now, let me ask you a question here. Let's think about temperature. If I was comparing 6 degrees below 0 compared to 8 degrees below 0, which one of those temperatures is warmer? Which number is bigger? Elijah? -6, which is something a little goofy. Why? Because we're used to 8 always being bigger than 6. But what you have to remember is that in negative numbers, your world is turned upside down and backwards. Okay? No matter, here's a good one here. Take a look there. What is bigger, 0 or negative 5,260? What is actually bigger, Brianna? 0. And that's a little hard for some people to think because they think of all those digits. Well, you know, 5,260 minus is a long, it's like you owe money. That's really what negative numbers are. Would it be better for you to owe somebody 0 money, or is it better for you to owe them $5,260? It's much better to do that. In addition to that, think about this. If I asked you how many degrees, is it from, if the temperature went from, let's say it went from 20 degrees to negative 5 degrees, and I asked you how much the temperature changed, or the difference in the temperature, how much did the temperature change to go from 20 to minus 5 degrees? Lainey? 25 degrees, which doesn't make sense because this looks like 20 minus 5, but really what you're doing is this. Take a look. 20 minus a negative 5. And when you take 20 minus a negative, it actually equals 20 plus 5, which is 25 degrees. So sometimes you're probably going to have to maybe sketch this out a little bit here. Well, here's a question for you. Let's see what they ask here. I guess, do we do Celsius? We don't talk too much about Celsius. Well, look at page 540 in your books there. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about this. Just to make sure, I'm sure you've dealt with temperature before, so I don't want to mix things up here. Look at letter A on page 640. What did I say?
500.
Why did I say 500? Just one of those Fridays. Letter A says use digits and symbols to write the temperature that is 12 degrees below 0 on the Fahrenheit scale. 12 degrees below 0 you would write as minus 12 degrees. You gotta have the little degrees, and you gotta label it Fahrenheit, because if you don't, who knows if it's the other temperature we use is called what?
Celsius.
What's colder, minus 12 Fahrenheit or minus 12 Celsius? Are you 100% sure? At some point, I think they meet.
-4
I know 0 degrees Celsius is the same as 32 degrees. So if it's minus 12 degrees Celsius, I think it's Fahrenheit would be higher than that. Wouldn't it? It would be like 5 or 10 degrees.
Yeah.
Somewhere there's probably a scale there somewhere. What about letter B? What temperature is shown on that thermometer? What temperature is that shown on that thermometer? My answer, -5 degrees. Yes, you have to count below 0.
Celsius.
Celsius, Lance was thinking that, he just didn't say it. Letter C, if the temperature shown on the thermometer is 14 degrees lower than the high temperature for the day, then what was the high temperature? And again, that might be good for you to kind of sketch out. Look at that. There was 5 below, right?
Yeah.
And that temperature was how many degrees below the high? Did it say 12?
3.
What's it say?
14.
The temperature is 14 degrees lower than the high, so you know the high's up here somewhere, because it dropped down there. What would have been the high temperature, and what would be the best way to figure that out? Well, I would think you'd want to do this. To go from 5 degrees to 0 degrees, it had to go up how many? So then, if I already used 5 of my 14 getting to 0, how many are left? So this would have to be 9 degrees, right? Because 9 and 5 is the 14 degree change that there was. You might want to sketch that out. What about letter D? If the temperature falls 3 degrees from the temperature shown, what will be the temperature? If it falls 3 degrees, what will be the temp? Maddie? -8, correct. And that's probably all. We'll stop with that. The rest don't do it this way. So I love temperature.